Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elite City Podcast. Coming in with a lot of energy. It's Revolution Week. Rick, what's up?
Not much. Exciting week. There's a Tony Khan affiliated wrestling show on every day except for Saturday.
That is very true.
We have Dark, we have Elevation, we have Dynamite, ROH, Rampage, and then Revolution. Big week.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The AEW's been on a little bit of a roll, and we don't get many pay-per-views with AEW, which I enjoy, but for this reason, it feels special this week.
Yeah.
Almost like there's 3 pay-per-views. Like it's almost like Dynamite's going to be a mini pay-per-view. Rampage will be a mini pay-per-view, and then the main. And it's just what it feels like every time AEW has a pay-per-view. The shows leading up to it are just nuts.
Yeah, this was not a bad. I don't know. I thought it was a good show. It was different though.
Yes,
I'll talk about it more later. But definitely different from a regular Dynamite.
Yes. Now, but before we get started and into all this, I did a little. I was crunching some numbers having to do with the sale of WWE, just because I was straight curious.
Trying to raise $9 billion for yourself to see if you can buy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were just a little bit short.
Yeah, by about $11 billion. After I did numbers, I don't know if WWE even needs to sell, because it doesn't make sense. So I'll ask you, do you think that Vince is actually hurting the WWE trying to negotiate this TV rights deal? Because when I show you these numbers here that I got off their website, it sounds like TV shouldn't even exist to them.
Right.
So if you like, this is from the WWE corporate website for the WWE, for the actual, like, not just like, not ratings, like numbers is in like money.
Right.
Well, right now because of like cable and the TV rights, but again, I'm talking, they're available in over 1 billion people. Think about that. Okay. So I just that as soon as that hit me, I started to think, and I was like, okay, from a business standpoint, in the streaming age, if you just shot for 1/3 of that 1 billion, now that's not 1 billion subscribers. That's because of cable. Like there's 1 billion TVs that
could potentially be. Yeah.
Yes. So I figure you take 1/3 of that, which you're shooting low at 33%,
right,
in an investment, but that's 330 million people. If you charged them a measly $1 to sub to just watch Raw and SmackDown, again, this is before taxes. This is,
right.
They would they would make $330 million a week before taxes. Just $1 to watch Raw and SmackDown. Now it gets even better. That equals $17,160,000,000 a year off the top. So I started to think, people were saying, did WWE inflate their numbers trying to sell for $9 billion?
Right.
If I just did general math and I came up with, if they just charged $1 for you to watch their weekly shows and shot for 33%, which is awful.
Right.
After they'd pay taxes, they'd be worth $8.34 billion.
Right.
So I think that's fairly accurate.
Yeah, I'm actually really with those. I haven't done the math, but I've thought of it before. I'm actually surprised that they go for. I mean, if Fox is going to give you however many millions of dollars Fox gave them, I forget what they paid for SmackDown. You'll
Right.
take the money if they're offering it to you, right? But I'm surprised, and I mean, like NBC basically bought the network from them and put it on Peacock.
Right.
I'm surprised though that they didn't just have like another tier of WWE Network. Like they had the $9.99 one that was, and then have
Yeah.
another tier that charges you, $15.99 or something, and you get Raw and SmackDown. I'm surprised they didn't do that.
Yeah, because like I said, just their two seminal shows, like $1.
Yeah,
Like the average person would subscribe to that and just forget about it.
right.
Seriously, like how many streaming services does everybody have and use like when only their favorite show is on it,
Right.
but you
Yeah.
can cancel at any time?
Yeah. Yeah. Before the network, because here the network is run by Rogers, so you have to have like now you can get it online, but it's like not the full network. It's whatever they decide to put on it.
Oh, okay.
And before like last year, you had to subscribe to cable to get it, which I didn't have.
Right.
But anyway, before they made it complicated like that, I had the network just because it was $10, and
Right.
why wouldn't you? And I just once in a while I'd watch it, but like most of the time I wouldn't watch it. But like I just keep paying $10 because it's $10 and you forget about it. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I thought of, like for $1. And then I thought, like, again, going to the tiered system, you could have like uh I don't know, just like a $5 tier, like, and then you can go all the way up to like if you want the pay-per-views and the full, you want the maxed out version, say it's 15.
Yeah.
But like just $1 to watch their shows. There doesn't need to be cable. They
Right.
could do all that in-house.
I'm surprised they didn't, to be honest. Like
I know.
when they sold it to Peacock, I'm surprised they didn't. Like pricing it at $9.99 was too low considering it came with the pay-per-views. Like that was a
Yeah.
steal. $10 for
Yeah.
what you used to pay $50 for, right? Like so it's
Right.
that was a steal. But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do like a $9.99 tier that's all the back catalog, and then a $12.99 tier that's the back catalog plus this week's shows, and then like a $15 cap. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do that.
It was just weird to me that like running the numbers and not knowing really what I'm doing, but just using their numbers.
Yeah.
It works out. It actually doesn't work out in their favor to sell.
Yeah, $9 billion is a lot, and I think the reason they're not getting investors is just or purchase is because that's just a lot. Like most companies don't have that much money available, right. But I don't think it's undervalued. Like it is worth a lot of money.
See, I would have never guessed that it was. I would have guessed like just for real quick. I don't want to go on a big tangent, but it's now they want to be an entertainment company,
right?
If they would run like I said, I just used it based off $1. You make that $10, you're looking at
right.
Like I mean, you're doubling you're 10 times in everything.
Right.
Anyways, if they just did that, then you up that bottom dollar to you go from you're worth 8 to I don't know times 10, that's 80.
Right,
million,
and you'd probably lose
billion.
You'd probably lose some subscribers charging more, but yeah, you'd even it out so that
well, at that point, you're into like probably Disney type money.
Right.
So you are an entertainment company.
Right.
And then your value is even more, like, it's just weird how they're, I forget the adage, but it's like a master of none is the,
right.
It's a tradesman thing.
Right.
It's like WWE is kind of a little bit of everything, but absolutely nothing all at the same time. Like they're not a wrestling company. They say they're not a wrestling company. They want to be a media company, but they don't act like a media company. They run it like a wrestling company.
Right.
Anyways, that was just my randomness for the week.
Do you think they get sold? Just quick off the top.
Oh,
I don't think they do.
Same here. That's what all this led to, and I almost forgot to end it. Yeah, I don't think just because nobody wants to put up that kind of money and end up in that kind of debt.
Right. Yeah, not even that it's not worth it, just that's a lot of money. And
Yeah, like
any company that got that would have to borrow some of it, and like you'd end up with a Elon Musk buying Twitter situation, where like you paid way more than you can actually afford to pay.
Yeah, like I forget the exact numbers, but I was listening to Cornette one day and on YouTube, and he said something like, if you just again, he just did like dummy numbers like I just did, but if you could come up with, if me and you came up with a group, it would take like, I don't think we would make a profit for like 32 years.
Right.
Literally. And that's with owning WWE. Think about
Right.
that.
Yeah, that's because you'd have to borrow the money to be able to.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like we would have no collateral. So you're thinking, even if another corporation buys it and has 6 of the 9 billion, you're still going 3 billion that you
Right.
borrow against.
Yeah.
Which,
there's very few places who just have $9 billion just to like to spend
to spend
in cash. Yeah.
Yes. Unless you want to buy Twitter, it's
I feel like it's not, maybe Saudi Arabia. No one knows how much money they have. They have a lot. So maybe they end up buying it, but my gut feeling is it doesn't get sold. And then Vince goes, well, I'm just going to stay around. And then
I think that's, unless something with, like you said, unless something with Saudi Arabia happens. They just announced that the king and queen of the ring is going to be there, and I basically got laughed off Twitter for that one. Like, why would you have that there?
Right.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Anyways, moving right along, away from WWE, we had a heck of a show for the Road to Revolution, and it started off with the All Atlantic Championship, Orange Cassidy versus Big Bill, and I thought Big Bill had a heck of a showing, and I thought it was a good match in general.
Yeah, he had a really great showing. Big Bill's, like, we always talk about people winning me over. He's won me over for sure, and he looks great. Like, not to make it about a looks thing, but he looks great.
Yeah. We were texting back and forth about that. I mean, he was in shape before, but now he's ripped.
Right.
Like, I mean, he cut weight but put bulk on. Like, he's a big dude.
Yeah, and he looks like dangerous and threatening, and yeah.
Yeah, and it really makes me think. And again, I don't know this. I really think Tony Khan is using Paul White and Mark Henry with the big guys.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Because they want to be coaches in general, but for some reason, and I know not everyone's going to be home run, but AEW and big men have been entertaining.
Yeah, which was their kind of the knock on them at the beginning. They didn't really have any big. The knock was it's a bunch of really small guys. So I think they made a conscious effort especially when Paul White and Mark Henry showed up to change that.
Yeah, and if they're working with them, like there's guys like, as we're going to get into Hobbs later, but they're learning how to use their size.
Yeah,
and just make the simplest things look devastating.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
And Orange Cassidy had a great match too. Like, this was
all in all great.
I was slightly skeptical, not skeptical, but slightly worried, because Orange Cassidy has great, he's a great wrestler, but his best matches are usually with technical guys.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how he would do against Big Bill, but he did a really good job.
Great job. And when Stokely was trying to get the table and he couldn't get the was selling the arm, he couldn't lift, it's a folding table. It weighs 3 pounds.
Right.
It was so good. And then him and Bill each had an end of it. Okay,
pretty sure he could take that on his own.
Yeah, he could probably lift the ring, but they needed 2 men to move the table to put Orange Cassidy through it. Now, I was in picture when Danhausen showed up. Where did he come from?
He just came down the ramp. He just came out of the back.
Okay.
I think his theme, I don't remember if his theme hit or not, but he just came down. down there.
Oh, okay. Because, like I said, I was in picture, and I don't know if I was getting a drink or something, but I came back and there's Danhausen. Um, I their little segment that, or not segment, the little part of the match where Orange Cassidy and Big Bill were outside of the ring, uh, right after Danhausen came. So it must have been like right after they came back from picture in
Right.
picture. There were some brutal shots of Big Bill throwing Orange
Yeah.
Cassidy the guardrail.
Yeah.
Like, I, you can't fake that,
Right.
obviously.
And those guardrails
Uh,
are not to steal
and
it,
they're,
not to sound cliche, but they are unforgiving.
yes, like they're not the old ones that used to kind of collapse on
Right.
themselves. Like it's just like it's being thrown into a steel wall.
Right.
Uh, that was gnarly. It took 3 orange punches to beat Big Bill, which I thought was cool
Yeah,
because
including
Big
one
Bill
off
at
the
the
top
time,
rope.
yes, like the super orange punch, which makes Big Bill look good too.
Yeah.
It wasn't, everyone else takes one. It took 3. So,
Right.
um, Orange Cassidy wins. He got pretty beat up. That's going to come into play a little bit later. Uh, but all in all, good match.
Yeah,
Agree,
definitely.
disagree? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good match. I liked it a lot. I think it might have been, well, the latter match probably, but it was one of the matches of the night. It was a really good match.
Yes. And I was happy for Big Bill. Like, I mean, he's had other matches and everything, but it, he just every time looks better and better.
Yeah,
And I know it's like his redemption story. He got himself clean. He got himself in better shape. It's just a good story. So I hope it his momentum keeps up because I
for
like
sure.
what I see.
For sure.
Um, how cool was the mock segment that it was after the match from last week, but they played it on this week's show?
Yeah, that was first of all, that was incredible. Second of all,
Yes.
he's an insane person.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. The only thing I could think of during the whole promo is guaranteed nobody cleaned up all that blood.
Yeah.
And then someone showed up for work at their random arena that they were in.
Yeah,
It
I
was
thought
like,
that
oh my
too.
God, what happened?
I thought that too. Like now someone has to be like, oh, why is there blood in the stairwell?
Like a lot of it.
Yeah. It's been here for hours. How do I get this out?
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be all dried and gross.
Yeah.
um I really like that promo.
Oh, it's
I
great.
like the way they did it too. Like
Yeah.
it was like the instant reaction from the week before. It was um Mox basically just calls out Hangman. He said there's only room for one animal in the Texas Death Match.
And
We're gonna
he
get
did a
to
good job putting Hangman over too, being like, you're a good
Yes,
wrestler,
he
but
did.
you're not me. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it was so good. We're
This
gonna
is
get into
I think that's the best feud going into this pay-per-view. I'm the most excited for that one.
I agree. And I hate to say it because you don't like to see guys get head trauma, but I think the knockout made the feud better.
Right.
And I know that's bad to say because it was a shot to the head, but it worked.
They definitely booked it really well after that.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes, it is. Excuse me, I was taking a drink. It has been booked very well, as they've also, which till this very second I just noticed it. They, unless they were meant to be together, they've also never been on the shows at the same time.
Right.
Unless it was like supposed to. Like I just realized that.
That's true. Yeah.
Wow. Way to go, Tony Khan.
Yeah. This is
almost pulled that over on us.
This has been a really good, and I noticed I think every time there was a backstage promo, it was always Renee with Hangman.
Oh yeah.
Anytime someone had to interview Hangman, it was Renee every single time, but it was never Renee with Moggs.
Oh, there's so many levels to this.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Sunday is going to be so fun. Let's just go right to we teased. You got your tease of the big elite promo that is still yet to happen.
Yes.
So I think we're going to get an elite promo soon.
I really hope so, because I would really like to see one. Like when they came out, I'm like, oh, finally, and then it didn't happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it not happening made everything so much better.
Yeah, I have a couple things to say about this. The segment was great. Like the segment was really
Yes.
cool. It was great how the House of Black kind of showed up from behind and you could see them in the like silhouette.
Yes.
And then the beat down everything. It was a great segment. My only issue is with the actual feud itself, and I think there might have been issues. I think we've talked about before how Kenny Omega was off for a
Yeah.
while because he had visa issues. I think you mentioned that Buddy Matthews might have been nursing an injury, but I think it is a little weird how they had the House of Black come back. They did like target Brandon Cutler and like target the Elite when they first came back. Then they kind of forgot about them, went after Eddie Kingston and Ortiz, and then went back to the Elite, which was fine. Like it's understandable that if they'd had two storylines going on at the same time.
Right.
I just think this feud, like the match is going to be great. Everyone knows the match is going to be great.
Yeah. Oh,
I want to see it. I wish the feud had been longer. I wish we would have had more of a build, like where House of Black explained why they're coming after the Elite more, or criticize the Elite more for whatever problem they have with them, and the Elite got to answer back. Like I wish this would have been, a 2-month program as opposed to like a 3 or 4 week program.
I totally agree with that. It is fun, and I'm not complaining on that aspect, but there's too many creative minds involved in this that it wouldn't have been awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Kenny Omega and the Bucks and Malachi, like they're some of the most innovative, creative storyline type guys that you could put in a match. So this hasn't been very, very creative. Like it was cool, but it hasn't been very creative for the quality of the people who are in it.
I'll give you a sneak peek of the predictions for later.
All right.
Personally, I think this is just the beginning.
Yeah, I hope so. I actually hope it is. I hope this continues because like having a Malachi and do longer promos against them, or the Elite finally having a promo. I mean, Kenny Omega is not an amazing promo guy, but like they can cut good promos.
Absolutely.
And Malachi should have got into more about. He's really good at like the psychological stuff, like why I'm coming after you, reasoning and what I'm going to do and why you're a victim. And like he could have got into that more. We don't really know why he's gone after the Elite. They've that vague. I mean, it's not just the trio titles. Like there's a reason they're going after them, I think, but I don't know what that reason is.
Yeah, same here. And I think it's just the start of a feud.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's the start of a feud, but I think that's the way they're going to go.
Because I mentioned a bit last week. That's my disappointment with the Elite. And again, Kenny Omega had visa issues, whatever. I get that.
Right.
My issue with them is they've had great matches since they've come back, obviously. Absolutely. And they had like a little storyline with Top Flight and AR Fox. Like that was like a 2 or 3 week little thing. So that was a story. But like the stuff they did with Death Triangle, the story was just there was going to be 7 matches. That was the extent of and then they had like a little mini storyline there, and then this pretty short storyline so far. Like they're better than that. I think they could do it. They're really good at emotional storylines with lots of, not just twists and turns, but like little hidden things in the story. And like, I wish they would have done more since they've come back.
I agree.
And I mean, that's holding them to a high level, but I think they should be held to a high level. Like they're some of the best guys in the company. Like,
and again, it's the double-edged sword. I agree with exactly with what you're saying, but I also give them credit for stepping back and not putting themselves on TV all the time.
Yeah. I think that's a problem with that's a bit of a problem with them, with the Bucks and Kenny and even Cody when he was there. They don't want to be on TV. They don't want to be in the spotlight all the time because then they don't want the criticism of like, oh, you are EVP, so that's why you're on TV all the time.
Right.
But in the same sense, they're some of the most well-known, most talented guys in the, like if they weren't EVPs, they would be on TV all the time anyway, just based on who they are. Like if you have Kenny Omega on your roster, you're not like, we're not going to book him. Like you're obviously going to book him. So it's a little, I get what they're doing because they don't want to be like, oh, they booked themselves into the main event. Like I get that that's a problem. But I kind of wish they had a bit more going on.
yeah, and it really makes me think, did they like is them having the EVP title working against them just because of the way that guys Hogan used to work?
Yeah, I think that
Like,
that's what they're worried about. They're worried about, the
yeah,
reputation that Hogan has, or Triple H had when he was an active wrestler. Um, they're worried about that reputation, and it is I kind of wish they weren't EVPs because they'd probably be more involved in like main event stuff if they weren't.
yeah. Uh, Again, it's a double-edged sword because I mean, you kind of got to respect what they're doing by pulling themselves back,
Right? Yeah,
because
I agree.
the average person wouldn't do that. But I
I
see
agree.
what you're saying. As a fan, we want to see
It, it
who we
it is a
like
bit
too.
like Cody booking himself to not compete for the title, and I'm like, I get it. Like
Yeah,
that's honorable to do that, but people wanted to see him go for the title. Like that would have been a better story than what he ended up doing. And you can see in WWE, like he's not an EVP and he's being booked to go for the title. Like that's how he should be booked.
right,
So it's honorable that they don't want that reputation, and they probably don't want to make the other talent upset. They don't want to make the fans upset. It's a good business decision, but yeah, from like a creative standpoint. But I do get where they're coming from. I can
yeah,
see them not wanting to go into a booking meeting going, okay, so we beat everybody and then we're in the main event. Like
yeah,
I can see
yeah,
that. They don't want to
yeah,
like Hogan, Sting, Starcade this up. I get that.
right. And that's the thing. Like, they have that stigma
Yeah,
because everybody knows they have that power.
right.
So the second they do anything,
Right.
like, again, me and you were talking, we were texting back and forth, and I said, you asked me if do I think they're going to sign, and personally, yes, I do. Just because no matter, I mean, I know WWE could lay down more money than you could think about,
Right.
but in AEW, they're getting two checks. They're getting a talent check, they're getting an EVP check, and they're getting to take care of their friends. Like, if they go to WWE, WWE is not going to sign Brandon
Right.
Cutler. They're not going to sign Brandon Cutler to follow them around and film them for BTE, which they would no longer be allowed to do.
Right.
Um, like, why? Like, I get maybe you want to do WrestleMania, but do you wholeheartedly screw
I don't I don't
all your
think
friends
I don't think they go. Like I don't. I think that I agree with that they have more to care about than
themselves?
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason I think that they might go is because, like, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, whenever it was, when Cody was rumored to be leaving, like when he was still in AEW, but rumored to be leaving,
Mhm.
I thought he wasn't going to go. And my reasoning was he's
Same
already
here.
been there. He knows what it's like. He doesn't need to go. Right. Like
Right.
it turned out I was wrong, but that's what my thinking was.
Same here.
My thinking with the Bucks and Kenny are they've never been there. I mean, they've heard a lot about it. Obviously, they have friends who were there. Um, I don't think that even if they don't have any delusions, or not delusions, but they don't have any expectations of, oh, we're going to go and we're going to immediately be top guys. Like, they might be, but they might not be. I don't know. Like, nobody knows.
Right.
The only reason I think they might go, and I don't think they will, but the only reason I think they might, I give them more, in my eyes, they're more likely to go than Cody was a year and a half ago, only because they haven't been there. And there's a part of, I mean, WWE has been the only major wrestling company for 20 years. And there's a part of anyone growing up watching wrestling who thinks, oh, I want to be in WWE. Like, maybe they don't
Yeah.
think that now,
I
but
mean,
when they were, 15 years old or 20 years
yeah.
old, like they wanted to be in WWE. Like, I wanted to be in WWE and I'm not a wrestler. Right. So,
Exactly. And if you didn't want that, then you shouldn't have been wrestling to begin with.
right. Like nobody started in 2002 being like, I'm going to wrestle on the indies only. Like, no, like maybe you wanted to wrestle on the indies, but like your goal was
Yeah.
probably to get to WWE
Yeah.
because it was the only place you could go.
To make enough money to take care of yourself.
Right. And
Yeah.
there's a part of me that thinks all big wrestlers go there. Even like Sting went there and didn't work out, but he went there just to be like, I want to go. I want to see what it's like. Maybe they want to go just to to do everything. So they could have done they could, be in New
True.
Japan, they could be in ROH, they could start their own company, and then they could go to WWE too, and they would show that like they're capable of doing everything. Whereas there's another side of me that thinks maybe they want to be the guys who don't go.
Yeah, and that's where I think they are, because
Yeah.
they also want, like, even if they're not going to be EVPs in AEW forever,
Right.
like they want that to be their legacy.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I started this company, signed one contract, and the second it was done, I used it for leverage to go to the other place to make more money.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't make you look very good.
Yeah, I think they might want to be like, like the indie band who never signed a major record deal, right?
Exactly.
They might want to be like that. Obviously, we're not them. We don't know what they value, but it's I fully believe that they're going to talk to WWE, or at least listen to WWE, because why wouldn't you, right? Like if you don't know what they're going to, even if it's just to know what the option is.
But see, that goes back to, that makes me think, would they even be allowed, depending on when that EVP contract expires? If they don't expire at the same time, like I was thinking of this the other day, like what if Tony Khan staggered them out? Like what if the EVP contract ends 6 talent contract?
Well,
So
I would feel like the EVP thing is just like a regular job where it's not a contract, it's just your job.
See, I figured it would be, well, they say they have 2 contracts. That's why I'm going,
because Cody did it. So I figure if Cody, like, you can quit your job whenever you want.
Oh, that's
right?
true.
Like,
you can quit. Yeah, that's true. Because I was going to say, like,
I feel like their EVP contracts are more like standard working agreements, where like a vice president of any company can quit whenever they want.
True.
And maybe they have like a no compete written into their contracts where they can't, you can't leave Apple and the next day show up at Google. Like maybe they have a thing in your contract.
Right.
But I feel like they could probably just quit.
No, I never thought of that. So yeah, you're right. So that makes my point
work. I think when they say they have 2 contracts, they probably mean they get 2 paychecks.
Probably.
That's probably what it is. Like they get a separate paycheck. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how that actually works. That's just what my guess is. Only because Cody did it and there was no conflict there. So I'm assuming if Cody did it, or Tony Khan's not going to force them to be EVPs, right? If they're like, we want to leave to work for WWE, he's not going to be like, well, you have to stay on as an EVP for an extra year. Like he's not going to do that.
That's true.
Because not only is that being a jerk, but why would you want your EVP to be someone who doesn't want to work for you, right? Like you would want them. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think they leave, but I do think they listen. But you're right. I don't know how they could listen, because if they're under contract, you can't probably talk to anyone else. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, going back to, you were talking about no competes here in the United States. We're trying to actually get rid of them.
Right.
Imagine the wrestling world's already insane. You can literally have like Rick Rude type scenarios happen again.
Yeah, the problem with that is the way WWE does it, I've heard, is they don't, when they say you're released, like they say you're released March 2nd, you're not actually released March 2nd. You're released 90 days after March 2nd. March 2nd is just the day they tell you you're released, and they stop putting you on TV, but you're actually released 90 days later. And that's the quote unquote no compete. It's not a no compete. It's just, we're giving you 90 days notice that you no longer work here.
Oh, see, that screws them too, because then they can't file for unemployment because they're still getting paid.
Yeah, they get around. That's how they get around it.
Well, it could also work the other way, though. I was just gonna say, somebody could quit and then like you could quit on Raw and then show up on AEW Wednesday. But yeah, I guess if that's how they do business with letting you go, then yeah, that wouldn't help you at all.
I don't know. Yeah, we've talked about this before. I don't know how they can possibly have a contract where they can fire you, but you can't quit. I don't know how that's legal.
It makes zero sense.
Like, I don't know how they make it so you can't leave. I don't understand. But
like that's,
I'm not a lawyer. Maybe like,
I'm
sure they have lawyers check these things out. But like, anyway.
But yeah, anyways, moving right along, we had the Face of the Revolution ladder match up next. Samoa Joe is on commentary. And a little preface going into this: if you didn't watch Road to, um, Eddie Kingston probably cuts the funniest promo you ever see in your life because he's questioning why he's even in the match, and then
Yeah.
he says he's like, I don't even want to be in it. Oh wait, Ortiz is in it. Okay, I'll just fight him wherever, and that's exactly what happened, and it was incredible.
See, I'm confused because maybe I don't watch Dark and Elevation, so I lost something, or maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention. The last thing I heard is I know Eddie and Ortiz had a fight. Like Ortiz, who with the chair?
Somebody hit someone with a chair.
I don't remember which one hit the other one with the chair. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, I remember there being a promo where I think Eddie was just like, I get it. You were mad at me. You hit me with a chair. So I get it, but we're just going to move on. Like, didn't that happen?
Yeah.
So why are they mad at each other now? Like, did I miss something?
It just kind of like they were tagging again. Always be like after the match, Eddie would like they'd win, and then they'd be doing like their stupid dances or whatever, and then Eddie would go like grab one of the other guys and put him in his like the people they just beat. He put him in his hold, and
Right.
Ortiz would like pull him off, and then they'd laugh about it again. Well, Eddie kept doing that like more and more, and finally Ortiz just blasted him.
Oh, okay. Because I was confused as to why they're suddenly in like a blood feud. Because I thought that like they had just minor disagreements. Like I got that they were disagreeing, but like why do they suddenly like can't stand each other? I was confused.
But the thing about that is that happened, and then it just like, oh, okay, that happened, and then like a couple weeks like they were neither of them were on TV, and then this happened.
Yeah,
So,
it's been weird.
It's been a little weird.
I'm not gonna blame Chris Jericho, but Eddie's booking post Chris Jericho has been very confusing.
It has been.
Like I've been very confused by all of it. Like I don't know what's going on. Like I know they did that little thing with the House of Black, but they never had a match with House of Black, did they?
No.
Eddie had a match with Brody,
had,
I think it was. Was it
yeah,
Brody?
It was either Brody or Buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's about it though.
It was weird. It's been weird.
Very, very.
But anyway, I did like them brawling around and just leaving.
I texted you during the match. They had dropped the ball, Tony Khan. You could have had a total WWF Monday Night Raw in the War Zone reenactment. Just have them fight the entire show and just cut in to make it seem like these two men have been fighting for like an hour and a half.
Just ran in like an hour later, cut to the back, and they're still fighting. Yeah, that would be good.
Like that, they needed to do that because
that would be good.
That's just old stupid WWF. It's hilarious. Like it made zero sense, but it was just added to the show.
and the best part was like after those brawls where they'd keep cutting to the back and they'd be fighting like an hour into it, then security would come out and separate them. Like like security had been like, okay, an hour is long enough. We're gonna
yeah, you guys went a little too long.
We were fine with like 45 minutes, but an hour no, we can't take that.
That's the line. And you crossed it. Hobbs did not realize that this was his hometown. Boy, was he over.
Oh, I didn't even realize it was his hometown.
They kept saying that's what they kept saying was his hometown.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I do remember that now. I was pretty tired last night, but yeah.
But boy, was he over.
Yeah, he was definitely.
And Hobbs and Takeshita, can we get a match?
Yeah, I'm shocked that Takeshita's like bigger than Hobbs.
I know.
Like I know he was tall, but like he's not even just taller, like size wise. Like Hobbs is clearly like he's wider, but like not by that much. Like he doesn't like they look similar in size, which I was surprised by. I think of Takeshita as like a smaller, like high flying technical guy.
Totally. And yeah, that was a surprise to me too.
But yeah, definitely that'd be really cool if they had I hope they do. I hope after the TNT title stuff is sorted out, I hope Takeshita and Hobbs end up in something because that would be cool.
Well, just a little precursor. Letting him be who he is on Twitter on Ring of Honor.
Oh, awesome!
You're gonna love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes. My next note just says, "Holy hell, Commander." Let's talk about this human being. or is he a human being?
I've never
Because
seen that where he ran all the way across the ropes
that was
from one corner to the other and then jumped. Like incredible. Like I've never seen
Yes.
that. Amazing.
Same here.
B, like again, wrestling logic, you could have just jumped off the ropes. There was no need for the run.
Yes.
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
Like it looked really good.
And the whole time he's doing it, I'm like, so much can go wrong at any
Right.
given second.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
if he falls in like his debut match, that's like
that's
really
it.
bad. That's it. Then then he becomes the guy whose gimmick is he falls off stuff because that's the only way you salvage that, right? Like,
Yeah. Wow, that was just an impressive spot. And then my next note is Commander again, which I should have been more specific. I don't know what he did. Oh, it was was it the Blue Thunder bomb that
by
Takeshita gave him?
Yeah,
onto the freaking ladder.
Yeah,
or off the ladder.
Off the ladder.
It was that's what it was.
And I like because around that point, Sammy was like, "Wait a second, I could do insane things too," and then
jumped off the ECW Sandman size ladder.
Yes,
the ladder that I always laughed about. Like me and my buddies would always laugh. Like, why does that ladder even exist? Because when you put it in the ring, it's like 1.5 feet taller than where the belts usually are.
Right, but they always have the one. They always have the one big ladder, which I always thought like. If you're a wrestler, why would you not grab the one big? Why are you grabbing any of the other ladders? Where you have to stretch. Just grab the really big one. Of course.
Yeah. You don't even got to go to the tippy top of it.
Right.
Like, it's taller than you need.
Right.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the inflatable life vest brass ring?
I think it's hilarious.
I think it's hilarious, but it does look kind of, if you don't know the story, it looks pretty cheesy, but like, I don't really care. But
like you texted me this during the match, and like obviously if you don't know, it's a shot at WWE because Vince always said you got to grab the brass ring.
Right.
Ha ha ha. And obviously that's probably coming from Jericho. Just my guess.
Yeah. I just love that it's clearly not a brass ring. It's like it's way too big. It should be like a skinny like hula hoop thickness of a brass as opposed to like whatever it is. But I get that you want it to be visible on TV. Like, I understand.
Like, I was trying to think, like, I mean, obviously, Money in the Bank is the premier version of this match.
Right.
And it's the best version because anything else makes zero sense. Like, I was trying to think, like, what could they do? Like, you can't have a contract because that's probably in the patent or whatever, like WWE probably owns,
right?
Like,
or it just looks too much like you're copying,
and
there's no belt, so you can't have a belt.
There's no belts, you can't hang a belt, like there's literally nothing else you can put up there,
right? Unless you just put there's not, what else are you gonna do?
I was trying to think, like, the only thing that I could think of is instead of like a contract like Money in the Bank, make it a belt, but it's not like a championship.
Right.
Like it's
like
the token,
like the belts you win from like the Owen Hart tournament. Like it's a belt, but it's not one that you defend.
Yes. It's like the what's this called? The Face of the Revolution. Like, you'd be the Face of the Revolution belt 2023.
Right. And you just win it for that, and then like you don't show, like, it doesn't show up again. It just
Yes. And I was like, that makes the most sense.
Right.
But whatever.
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't detract from the match. I just think it's kind of funny.
Definitely. Did you have a problem with Hobbs winning? Because we both wanted Takeshita to win.
No, I wanted Takeshita to win, but Hobbs was my second choice.
Same
so
here.
It makes perfect sense. Do you think it foreshadows what's going to happen with Wardlow and Samoa Joe?
I definitely.
Because Hobbs is the next challenger. Yeah, I think it does too. I also really liked how wrecked that ladder was, but Hobbs used it anyway. Like, and then like four refs jumped in the ring to like make sure it was stable.
I think he realized, like, oh, I was up here with a little too much adrenaline.
Right.
Because when it was time to get down, it was like, this sucks.
Yeah, yeah. And like I get why he didn't leave the ring and get another ladder, but
Yeah, totally.
it was clearly not the ladder to be climbing.
Yeah, it would have been totally acceptable if he just like even if he just broke that ladder totally and then went and
Right,
got another one. Like,
right. Or threw it at someone or something. Yeah, just to be like,
yeah,
yeah.
just to get it out. But hey, it is what it is.
No, I like Hobbs winning. I like the stuff that happened afterwards with Samoa Joe and Wardlow.
Yeah,
Whenever Wardlow gets to beat up security guards, I think it's funny.
hilarious. And why? Okay, Wardlow gets his hair cut, and I think his neck grew about 7 inches.
Yeah,
It didn't
you're
even
right.
look like him when he first came out.
Right.
I was like, it's like who the heck? Oh, it's Wardlow.
So when he beat up all the security guards, and then they hired Mark Sterling to sue him, and then
Yes.
the punishment was he had to fight all the security guards.
Correct.
What happens in court cases all the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
So after that, is he just allowed to beat up security guards now? Like, did he serve his time and now he like can do it freely, or could they technically sue him again and make him do it again?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, he did beat 20 at one time.
We should ask Mark Sterling on Twitter
We should.
if they're going to sue him again now, because maybe what were the terms of his settlement? Like, after he beat 20 of them, is he now free to beat up more, or is he like restricted to like he can't beat up, or maybe he has a number, you can't beat up more than like 10 security guards at a time anymore? Like, that's the settlement you've reached with the security guards.
That's a great question.
I need to know this now.
Yeah.
Tweet at Smart Mark and figure it out.
I will. Hold on. we'll move right along. What were your thoughts on Chris Jericho versus Pretty Peter Avalon?
It was exactly what it should have been.
I totally agree.
When they booked the match, I was really worried it was going to be one of that AEW is kind of guilty of, where like they have a 20-minute match with a guy who like shouldn't be in a 20. Yeah, nobody knows who it is, but they're like, oh, we don't want to make him look bad, so let's give him a 20-minute match. But like, no, you don't need to do that. This was exactly what it should have been. He had like 5 minutes of offense where he looked good, and then Jericho easily beat him, which was it was exactly what it should have been. It was. We talked about last week how everything Jericho does is too long. This was the exact right length.
Yeah. And like you said, it didn't it actually made Jericho look not like a fool, but like he played the heel perfectly. Like you said, like it was a 5-minute match for 4.5 minutes. He got beat up.
Right.
It made Peter look good.
Right.
Because he's, quote unquote, not on Jericho's level.
And he got to beat him up for 4 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it sets up, obviously, Ricky Starks to come in and make the save.
Right.
And then the JS attacks Ricky. As predictable as the ending was, it definitely needed to happen because leading into the pay-per-view.
Yeah, perfectly good. Perfectly, like it was fine. It was the right length. Yeah. It was not great, but you're right. It needed to happen, and it wasn't long, and it wasn't annoying. It was what it needed to be, and it was perfectly good.
Yeah, and it led right into the Hangman promo. Like, it was good to like break up the
right. Yeah, because before this they had the backstage promo with Danhausen and Orange Cassidy, so it was a good. Yes, it was a good pacing.
Yeah, very good pacing. Which we skipped over that. I have a theory on that.
All right,
we'll get to that.
All right.
Well, we're in between segments. We'll go to that since we skipped it. Danhausen was speaking for Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends and got them involved in the battle royal for later in the evening.
Right.
And well, when we get to that, I'll get to that. But they're in it. They're in the battle royal, and which I thought was fun, even though it was booked weird.
Yeah. Did anything actually happen to Best Friends that made them not cleared? Like, did they have like a match where they got beat down or something, or they just decided they not cleared?
They got beat up backstage, didn't they?
Did they? Oh yeah, they did. They did by Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
You're right.
But moving right along, the Hangman had probably the promo of a lifetime.
Oh yeah, really good.
Such a good promo.
Really good.
And the thing that I liked about it, it was like Mox's was his promo like from the week before was it wasn't off the rails, but he was yelling, it was intense, and Hangman's was intense, but like
Yeah, a lot more calm. He wasn't screaming. He
yeah,
wasn't like, yeah,
it was
yeah. That's a good
more
point.
it was smoother, I
Yeah.
guess.
And
And
I really liked when he said, you know, you always talk about how you like violence. I don't like violence, but I can do it.
yes,
I don't like it, but I'll do it. Which he's shown before. Like he had that
right.
match with Hangman Page, and like he can do it, but I liked him being like, I don't like it. I'm not you're like you, but I can do it if I have to. And I like it was a great promo.
So good,
And
served its
it
purpose.
really made them. I mean, obviously, if you're watching AEW, you know the difference between the two of them. But it really
Right.
it really differentiated Hangman from Mox. Like, yeah, the not yelling, the very calm. You know, he was outside versus
Inside, yeah.
inside, kind of screaming in a stairwell. Yeah, it really made the. This has been a great feud.
It really has been.
People who
Really
say AEW doesn't have any storylines, like this is a storyline. Just because it doesn't have, you know, a 20-minute promo every week doesn't mean it's not a storyline. It's
Yeah.
definitely a storyline, and I really like it.
I'm excuse the pun, I'm all in on it too. It's the most excuse me, it's the second most interesting thing going on in the company, as the women's division in general is the
Right.
first.
Yeah, I agree.
We had the Rick City segment of the night.
Yes.
Renee in ring with Christian.
Yes, two good Toronto kids having a promo in the ring. Yep. Great stuff.
Freaking Christian.
He's amazing.
Christian. I read probably the best tweet ever. It was when AEW said they had signed a future Hall of Famer and found out it was Christian, and everybody laughed.
Right.
And it was like, who's laughing now? Like,
right. Yeah, for sure.
Proved who he is.
Even when he signed, I remember thinking like he is a future Hall of Famer, but he's like a tier down from like the guys you would think are definite.
Yes.
But like, no, he's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know we talk about it all the time, and it just sucks. Like, this talent has been there since '96.
Right. And he had a run in TNA that I didn't see because I didn't watch TNA. Apparently his run in TNA was really good, but he's never had a chance to be. It's weird that he left WWE, had a really good run in TNA, and just went back to like not have a really good run in WWE. Like they just never gave him any time. It's weird. And we talked about this a lot, but right. I'm glad he's here. You could tell that this promo was like off the top of his head because he kind of like repeated himself a little bit. Not bad, not in a bad way, but you know, repeated himself or rephrased things as he was going. Like he was just speaking. You could tell it wasn't like written down for him, or he didn't write it down. He just planned, I'm going to say these 4 things, and then just talked. And it was really good.
Do you think Christian ever becomes AEW champion?
I don't, only because he's a lot older, and I think there's a lot of other guys who might be in line before him. But if he did become AEW champion, I don't think anyone would complain.
Agreed.
I think it would fit for sure. I really liked in the promo when he said that, oh, you wanted to, what was it? You want to win a title, but you don't want to earn a title or something along that line. Like that was really good.
Yeah.
You just want to get a quick roll up and win the belt, but you don't want to actually beat someone and make them give up their title. And I do. Like that was great.
Well, the fact that he even specified, I'm challenging you to a fight.
Right.
Not a wrestling match.
Yeah.
An actual fight.
Yeah.
And then he says that, and the camera cuts to Jack Perry digging Christian's grave.
Yes.
So good.
Really cool. Great. And I like that it was like interspersed with like their history. Yes. That was really good. Again, wrestling logic it totally fits in a wrestling show. Like if you don't think of it in terms of wrestling logic, Jack Perry hired a camera guy, went out somewhere, got a grave made up that said Christian Cage on it.
Right.
filmed himself digging a grave and then like sent it in to AEW. It was like
to where he works.
Yeah, and then if he's ever in the ring, because he didn't know this promo was coming, obviously, right?
True.
Next time he's in the ring, make sure you air this.
Yeah, under these specific circumstances.
Yes, if he ever comes out and insults me and challenges me to a match, this is what the video package that you then air. But yeah, it was great. It was great.
It just had it just the vibe was so cool.
I know we said last week, I know they've had a feud before Christian was injured. Like they had a long running storyline before Christian, but like they really have gone from nothing to really intense feud in like 2 weeks.
True.
And that's not a knock. That's not me saying like, oh, they should have stretched it out longer. Like, no, they ramped it up from like they're back where they were before the injury. Like they ramped it up fast, and it's great. I love it.
Oh, it's the best. I mean, I know we're going to talk later, but I'll just throw it out there. Who do you think wins?
Ooh, I think Jungle Boy, because they're clearly pushing him, but
right.
And I think this ends the feud. This ends the story. This ends the feud between them.
Definitely.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it was Christian, and then Jack Perry had to go and like a questioning himself. Oh, maybe I'm not ready to win a title yet. Like I have to earn it more. I don't know.
I'm right there with you. It's 50-50 with me. I have Christian winning.
Okay.
In my predictions.
All right.
But like you said,
I could definitely see them going that way, and Christian wins, and then Jack Perry is like questions himself, like, oh, I thought I was ready to win a championship and be the top guy here, but I'm obviously not. Like I have to work on some stuff. And then maybe he comes back with like a slightly new attitude or a new finishing move or something that gets him over to the point where he can win a championship. Right. I could definitely see that.
The other thing about this match has potential to be a little weird just because what is a fight in AEW?
Yeah, like, I think they've kind of like, I think they called it a no holds barred match.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if it's like a no holds barred match, like it starts in the ring and you have to end in the ring, or if it's like a hardcore match where you can be anywhere and you have to pin the person. Is it submit? I don't know. They haven't said.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna have a little bit of a. I have Christian winning via super mega heel win, like,
right?
And that's why I want to know the definition of what it is, because I could totally see this match being like a minute and a half long,
right?
And him attacking Jungle Boy in his locker room, like,
right?
Or I could see it going like 35 minutes,
right,
throughout the whole building. Like, it's, right. I don't know. Anyways, Tony Schiavone had a little backstage with Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, and Jamie basically said she's excited for the three-way dance at the pay-per-view, and Britt was kind of giving off babyface vibes.
Yeah, and I really like I love Britt being her, like, being the supportive friend, because it doesn't fit her at all, and even as a character you could tell, like, this is not a knock on her acting, this is praising her acting. You can tell that, like, Britt Baker the character doesn't want to be the supportive friend, but she's trying her best. Like, she's really trying. Yes. Like, this is her being like, no, I want to support my friend, but I kind of still wish I was the champ. Like, you can kind of feel that. It's great.
It is. It's a good, like, sub story, because all this is obviously going to turn around and come back.
Right. And I really like them being, oh, Saray, the little warning to Saray, like, oh, if you get involved in this match, we're going to get involved in the match. Like, I like that.
Yes. Which, obvious foreshadowing.
Yes. Yeah. Never in wrestling does someone say, if you were going to get involved, I'm going to get involved. And then the match is just like a clean match and no one gets
involved. Yeah, it's like, oh,
they shake hands at the end and everyone just goes their separate ways.
Yeah. Thank God I wasn't needed.
They just cut to the back and they're just like eating popcorn, watching TV.
Yeah, hanging out. Like,
you didn't need us at all. Okay, that's cool.
Matt Hardy is on a run. And I think him and Hook had probably the surprise match of the night.
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, yeah, like no, I wasn't trying to disrespect saying that Matt Hardy and Hook aren't good, but
Right.
I thought this match was going to be a total squash. I didn't realize it would be a real match.
Right. I think they kind of used it as a, Matt Hardy's a veteran. Let's let him kind of not teach Hook, not that Hook needs to be taught,
Right.
but let's let him have like a kind of lengthy, not a super lengthy, but a kind of lengthy match with a veteran because he hasn't really had that yet.
Yeah. And I mean, all the stipulations that were brought into this match have been absolutely hilarious. It, it was just one of the stories from Dark, and it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they kept I forget what the stipulations they made, but they kept one upping each other, right? Like if you win, I'm gonna do
Yes.
this, and then I'm gonna do this, and also I'll add this in. Like,
Yeah, like they were so sure they were gonna win. It like Matt Hardy just kept adding like they weren't allowed at oh no that if Matt Hardy lost, Stokely would have to wrestle Hook, and then they were like, oh, I'm gonna win so bad that the what do they call it? What's their
the firm.
the firm? There it is. The firm will be banned from ringside and blah blah blah. So of
Yeah.
course you knew. Oh, obviously
Right.
Hook's gonna destroy Hardy,
Right.
and that's what happened. Uh, and just the look on Stokely's face at the end was
Yeah.
priceless.
Yeah, and Stokely lose. I really like the spot where he took off his cast and used it, and then it didn't work, and then he could be like, "Oh no, that was my shot,"
Yeah,
and it
yep,
didn't work.
yeah. It's like, well, I should have had a plan B
Yeah.
because plan A was a failure.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it was a fun match. Obviously, this is leading towards some sort of broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Because they cut to him and he had that weird smile.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm hoping that we get Matt Hardy, Ethan Page cinematic match. I think they're both creative enough.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be incredible.
That would be cool.
I'm hoping that's what
I
this
don't
leads
think
to.
It'll happen because it'll be Hook's first loss, so I don't think it'll happen. But I would love for Stokely to become FUW champion, just because it would be hilarious. Just somehow he's not going to be the first person to beat Hook. I know that's not going to happen.
Right.
But it would be great if like somehow Hook slept and hit his head and got knocked out, and Stokely pinned him and was like, "No, I'm FUW," and then like acted like he was like hardcore, and like
that would be absolutely incredible. Oh, that'd be fun.
Claimed that he was like the spirit of ECW or something, and like that'd be great.
And there would always be a reason like why he couldn't defend it.
Like, oh yeah, I would have wrestled today, but I twisted my ankle, so I can't. Yeah. Oh, I would have wrestled today, but I don't have my gear. I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh man, I have a flight I gotta catch. Like,
right. That'd be great.
Oh, it'd be so much fun. The House of Black promo was, I mean, when House of Black cuts any promo now, it's top tier.
Yeah.
And the fact that every time they cut a promo, they're all involved.
Yeah, I like that.
It's so well thought out and so well done. Julie at the end putting the belt down and then just having a little see at the Revolution or whatever she said was so cool.
Yeah.
House of Black's probably, in my opinion, I think they're the coolest faction in
I agree.
AEW.
Yeah, BCC was for a while, but they've kind of fallen off.
Yeah. I'll give you that. It's like, it's almost just seems like what's left of the BCC is Claudio and Yuta.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Danielson is in, and then he's not, or I mean, he is, but he's never with them.
Yeah, I guess it might be like might become like an ROH faction if it's just gonna be those two. Maybe they go to ROH and like have their faction there. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Tony Storm Tony Storm versus Riho. Riho is, well, first off, she's been wrestling 73 years and she's 25 or 23, whatever she is.
Yeah, she wrestled her first match. What was it, 9?
At 9, yeah. She has like 20 some years experience, but she's like 27.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
This was a really good like contrast. Like Tony Storm just like threw her around for a while, and Riho. It was a really good like. Not that Tony Storm is big, but compared to Riho, she is.
Totally.
It was a really good like powerful versus speed type match. I thought it was good.
And I do not understand how the hip attack doesn't give you brain damage.
Yeah, I mean, I get it that she's hitting the turnbuckles too,
right?
But like, it still looks like she's like destroying somebody every single time she does it.
Every single time, and I know we talk about it all the time, but yes, it looks so brutal.
Like, I'm fully aware that she also hits her back against the turnbuckle. Like, she's trying not to hit you in the, but like, she still is. Maybe everyone just sells it really well. I don't know, but it looks brutal. In a good way. Like I get in a good way. Like it's kind of a dumb signature move in when if you just talked about it, like, oh, she runs and she hits you with her butt. Like it sounds dumb. But the way she does it looks so cool and dangerous that like she's made it a tough move.
Yeah. And like every time it looks devastating.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But what were your expectations on this match? We're going to back up a little bit. I was seeing it on paper.
Yeah, I was really sure Tony Storm was going to win by shenanigans. Like Saraya was going to do something and get involved, and she was going to win. I was actually really surprised. Not that I don't like Riho. I was just surprised that she won.
Totally. I especially going into the pay-per-view. Like,
right.
Oh, of course you could see this coming from a mile away. Tony Storm and Saraya are going to cheat. Riho's going to be all upset. They're going to have a little bit of momentum going into the pay-per-view, but no, they threw us a curveball.
Yeah.
Britt distracts Tony Storm. Riho gets the win. It was just a solid pro wrestling match.
Yeah, definitely. Really good match.
And it like I'm stumbling on my words here because I don't want to come off ignorant when I'm trying to think of a non-ignorant way to say it. I'm not trying to be ignorant. It's like I hate when people say, "Oh, that was good for a women's match."
Yeah, I agree.
Like that's what I was trying to not say. It was just a good wrestling match. Like it didn't, not just because of who was in it or like no.
It's just a really good match. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, Tony's like they're both great wrestlers.
Totally.
And so it makes sense. But yeah, I agree with you.
Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee are now a tag team.
Yes. What was their name again? Limitless.
What the hell was it called?
It was Limitless something. Now it's gonna bug me.
Yeah. Because
it was Limitless.
I said
it was not Gold Dust. It was not Gold Dust.
No, because I said it should have been Keith Dust.
Yeah, Keith Dust. That would have been good.
That's Oh, what was it?
Oh, what did they call it now?
It's a very good play on words.
Yeah, I'm so upset. I don't know where it is. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
But anyways, they're challenging the Mogul affiliates for tomorrow night. Rampage, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we will get to see, possibly, are we going to get to see Tattooed Face Man and Parker Boudreaux, or is it going to be Swerve and Parker?
Yeah, I wonder what happened because Tattooed Face guy disappeared.
I think because nobody cared.
And I remember Swerve was like, "What did you do with him?" And no one's like, "Wait, no, he's just gone."
Yeah. I think it was they saw the writing on the wall that guy got as much reaction as I would if I show up on TV.
Naturally Limitless. There you go.
Naturally Limitless. There it is.
That's it.
Yeah, because he's the natural.
Yes. Good name.
Good name. It is.
I'm a little surprised they gave them a name because that makes me think they're going to stick around, but maybe they gave them a name because they're not going to stick around and they're trying to swerve us. No pun intended.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like my first thought was it's going to be Swerve and Parker Boudreaux because I think other guy disappeared.
Right.
But I kind of hope how I hope that they would never give him a name. Now I kind of hope that it's a running gag that every week Swerve is like, "Where is he?" And he's just never there. But every week Swerve is like, "What happened to him?" And he's just not there.
That would be incredible. Sorry, guy, I'm not trying to make fun of your career, but that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. That would entertain me.
And then like a year from now, he could show up and just be like, "Oh, I was just hanging out. Sorry, did I miss something?"
Yes. Like he got a new phone and he was like, "Hey, I got a new
Yeah.
number, but waiting for you guys to call." Like, oh, sorry.
Oh, we had that number
um,
wrong. We've been texting the wrong guy the whole time. Yeah.
they were like texting Danhausen. He's like, I have no idea why Swerve has been texting me for the past year and calling me Tattoo Face Man.
Yeah, even though he has a name now, I'm still calling him Tattooed Face Man.
100% will always be Tattooed Face Man. He could
Yes.
end up being the face of the company one day, and I'll be like, AEW is great because of Tattooed Face Man.
15-time world champion. You're like, well, there's Tattooed Face Man.
Dude rips. Love him. Tag team battle royal. I had a little problem with this. Match was great.
Yeah.
I just felt that they totally botched the explanation. All they should have said, it was a series of 2 matches. The 2 teams that win move on.
Right.
If you win first, that's the advantage. You don't have to wrestle twice going into the pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was a little weird because it was the almost the exact same teams as the first one, except for the Kingdom. And then they're just like, we're gonna have a match again, but no, now you enter separately. That's the whole like it was. Yeah, it's a little. It was weird.
It was very weird. But as we said before, Danhausen and Orange Cassidy were in. Um, the Dark Order and the BCC started. I tried to take notes, but I lost track of who was in and who was out.
Yeah, I like the little feud they're doing with Dark Order and the BCC.
I totally dig it. It's like an under the radar feud, but
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm
For some reason, Josh Woods and Ari and Tony Nese came out at one point and beat up the Lucha Bros. Do they have a problem with the Lucha Bros? Has that been established?
No, not to my knowledge, but apparently they do now. Because they just like you said, they just attacked them and did they eliminate them?
They attacked them, threw them back in, and I think Roosh and somebody else.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
Roosh is just trying to take people with masks again, which it's a funny gimmick.
That's all it says, man. You got to start watching Dark and Elevation because they literally tie them together, and Vance wears them around his neck now.
Nice.
Every luchador.
Roosh just like hating masks for no established reason. He just like doesn't want anyone to wear a mask.
One of these luchadors should challenge him instead of like how they used to have like the mask versus mask.
Yeah.
Matches. They should challenge Roosh. If he loses, he has to wear a mask.
That would be great. And he's just mad about it all the time. Yeah.
He's like, I can never lose. No, not the mask.
That'd be great.
But the tag team battle royal was fantastic. Danhausen and Orange Cassidy win.
I found the only thing I noticed, wanted to point out just because I love Maria Kanellis.
Yes.
They totally glossed over her getting super kicked in the face. They were just like, oh, she got kicked in the head. Anyway, back to the rest of the match. I feel like, and I know a lot was going on. Like, I get it, but
see that's I'm glad you brought that up. That made me think because I wrote this down. I wonder if they were told they probably shouldn't do that. And I know that Mike and Maria are married, and like Matt Taven is their very good friend, so she obviously trusted them.
I know they've done it before. Like I saw a clip from like an ROH or New Japan show, I think it was, where a similar thing happened.
But like you said, it was like a bigger deal. Definitely, probably should have been made, but I wonder if they didn't.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe they didn't. Yeah, you're right.
Because of what it was.
You're right. Yeah.
But again, I get both sides of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That maybe they were told not to do it, and they're like, "Oh, we'll do it, but we're not going to mention it, or we're not going to dwell on it." Yeah.
Yeah, just for that fact.
Yeah.
It's 2 men kicking a woman in the head, but
right. It was a little weird to be like, the match is happening. Oh no, Maria got double kicked in the face. Anyway, here's Josh Woods.
Yeah, exactly. My theory on this is obviously Danhausen and Orange Cassidy win. We're going to find out tomorrow night. Again, we're recording on Thursday, so when I say tomorrow, we're talking about Rampage.
Yes.
We're going to find out tomorrow night that they're not cleared and neither are best friends, and that's going to be our wild card.
Okay.
Hit the music, FTR at the pay-per-view. that's how they get the tag belts.
Yeah, I could
on
see that.
FTR.
I could see that. I thought we were going to get through a week without Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, but nope. You have to book him every week. Maybe it's in his
100%.
contract. Like, I must be booked on television every week.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you notice it that much.
And again, I don't dislike them. Like, they're it's just odd that literally everyone gets cycled through
time
shows.
off. Yeah,
Every single person, like even Mox isn't on every show, but Jay Lethal, since he signed, is on every single show. It's weird.
it really is, and it's incredible. It's like,
I'm pretty sure CM Punk wasn't on every show when he
You're
was
right.
there. Like,
and it's funny, Lethal. Like, I laugh every time I see him now because I instantly think, oh man, it's mad. But he even transcends. Like, he even shows up on Rampage. Like there's literally just certain guys and girls for certain shows.
Except for Jay Lethal. He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Yeah. He's even on Dark and Elevation when Sing's on. Like,
he's on
literally
RH. He's on RH as well. Like, he's everywhere.
He's literally everywhere.
He's everywhere.
It's amazing.
It doesn't bug me, but it's hilarious. It's weird at this point. Like, it's a little strange. Like,
it is just because,
like, oh, we didn't have time for Chris Jericho or Danielson or Mox, but we have all the time we need for Jay Lethal.
I love it. It's great. This had a very the show had a very WWE type ending.
Yes.
But I thought they pulled it off because this show doesn't end like this ever.
Yeah. It was weird only because there was 5 minutes left. The tag match ended, and then the show went to commercial. Whereas if I had not been watching what time it was, I would have thought, oh, end of the show, and just turned it off. But then I texted you at the time being like, wait, Danielson's supposed to, like, they said Danielson's going to be here. So that must be what they're doing. But and then they came back and they did like a video package of their feud. And then with like 3 minutes left in the show, they're like, here's Brian Dan. Like, it was weird. I don't know if that's how the timing was supposed to work, or it was, I get that they wanted to put them on at the end because they're the main event for the pay-per-view.
Right.
Like, I totally get that. But it was a little weird that they kind of ended the show with the tag match and then the video package, and then was like, but there's more, and then just did like 3 minutes more of stuff.
And Danielson drops an F-bomb. I mean,
yes.
I never thought in a million years that I would. Well, I didn't hear it. It did get beeped.
Yes,
it did get bleeped. But I mean, I'm just surprised. It's hard. I mean, I knew who he was in Ring of Honor, but that was like that era where Ring of Honor was on at weird times,
right?
And I knew who he was, but I didn't know him. I only know him truly through WWE. Right. Now I've back and watched his stuff, but like when it's like when you see like someone from WWE like swear, it's like almost seeing like Bob Saget swear.
I was just thinking that it's like Bob Saget being a dirty comedian when all you see him on is Full House. Yeah,
yeah. It's like when Danielson said that, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. They have you so trained to like their wrestlers, their sports entertainers. I'm sorry, superstars. I'm sorry.
Right.
Their superstars there are so like perfect and scripted and larger than life. And yes, they get mad, but they don't get like real mad.
Right.
Like I don't know. And then like seeing him like, I'm gonna kick you in the effing head, and you're like,
right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was a good promo. Really good promo.
Great promo.
I love that he would just like, you deserve your fiance leaving you. That was fun.
And the fact that people still think that that's real. Come on.
But I like how he explained it, being like, your fiance, you deserve, because you come out every week and you say that you're like, with other women and you act like a jerk. Like, why would she want to be with you? Like that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. It's so good.
It was good.
Yeah, it was a great show. The quote unquote go home show leading into Revolution. tomorrow night we have another live Rampage, which will be
Yes.
fun.
Yes.
It's gonna be hard to stay awake, but
Yes. And I'm definitely not going to make it to the countdown that airs. I'll watch it on YouTube the next day.
I was gonna say my DVR is already set. I'll watch that first thing in the morning. There's no way making midnight.
It reminds me of like the quote I sent you earlier, like texted you earlier today. That Danielson was saying that like he hopes his match goes on first because the show's in California and he can't wrestle. He can't stay up that late.
And like I think it's funny. Like he does realize that it's like if the show starts at 4 p.m. California time, like he'll still be home by 10.
Right. Yeah, but and doesn't he live in Seattle? Isn't it?
Oh, that's true. So
isn't it? But it's West Coast time anyway. It's not like he has to go. It's like he has to go across the country.
Yeah. So I mean, even if he has to get on a flight, he's going to be in his bed.
Right.
on Sunday night.
Right.
But yeah, that was a great quote. I don't blame him. I wish the pay-per-view started at 4 o'clock East Coast time.
Fellow 40+ person being like, I can't stay up that late. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like it makes me jealous of the guys and girls on the West Coast to get to watch the pay-per-view at 4 o'clock. Like,
right.
I still have to stay up till freaking midnight now.
Right.
Well, first world problems, huh?
Speaking of the pay-per-view, we have our picks.
Yes.
I won last time with my incredible knowledge. I won the I won the Full Gear.
That is very true.
Prediction contest. I just needed to bring that up.
No, you did. You whooped me. Man, hey, I try to be a little different because I figured it'd be boring things. Well, this one I picked like a normal human being. I have 0 wild cards.
Nice.
So this is probably going to be a little boring.
I found a couple. Most of the matches I could predict pretty easily, I think, but some of them I'm not sure.
Well, I'm just going the order that I found them on the internet. So
all right.
If these are out of order, I apologize. They got this off of the Twitter site. So
sounds good.
We have the Elite versus the House of Black for the trios titles. I have the Elite winning, but I think it's the beginning of the House of Black feud.
Yeah, I also have the Elite winning. I don't think they're going to have them lose the belts anytime soon. But I hope you're right, and I hope this continues because I think they could do if they had like a long, month or two long feud. I think it could be really good.
I was just trying to think. We're probably about due, like not super soon, but within the next 8 or so weeks for a Battle of the Belts. Yeah, I would love to see them feud until like whenever the next Battle of the Belts would be.
Yeah, I think it's in like April or something.
That's perfect. That would be a great blow off.
Yeah,
and they would have the belts for, like, if they would lose the belts, I would be okay with that because
April 7th.
Okay, April. Oh, that's right before the Pittsburgh show almost.
It is.
So yeah, there you go. I'll take that. That's what I hope happens.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Next we have Christian versus Jack Perry. I have Christian winning, and in parentheses, it's going to be a heel win. It's going to be scummy. It's going to be. It's not going to be a crowd pleaser. He's going to get major heel heat. I
had Jack Perry until we talked.
Oh.
and you made me think that am I going to stick with Jack Perry? I think you might be. I think you might be right. I think Christian might win so that they can do a Jungle Boy having to, build himself back up before he can contend for a championship. But I'll say Jack Perry.
Okay.
That was my original pick. I'm sticking with it.
Okay. We have.
You can't sway me with your logic.
I try. I'm close to swerving you to the dark side on the Hitman Hart.
Yes, you are.
It's coming. It's coming. One day.
It's convincing.
It's too much lines up. Anyways, Chris Jericho versus Ricky Starks. I got the Storkman Jones. Ricky Starks.
It had better be Ricky Starks. If it's not Ricky Starks, I'm gonna be so upset. I'll just be like yelling in my basement at the TV,
waking up the house.
Yes, my wife will be like, "Why are you mad at the wrestling show again?" I'm just like, "Listen,
listen. Jericho takes it way too long. Should have been over a long time ago.
I don't actually care. I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, she's like, I wasn't serious. Did not need an answer to that.
Now Eddie Kingston, I don't care.
Yeah. We have the tag match of the Guns, the Acclaimed, Lethal and Jarrett, and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. This I do have a wild card because this is where I think Orange Cassidy and Danhausen don't get cleared. There's going to be another fourth team, and I
Right.
think that fourth team is going to be FTR. If it's not, I think the Acclaimed win the belts back.
My first thought was they claim win the belts back, but I think the Guns might keep. I think I'm picking the Guns because I think they are. I think they are going to face FTR. I think they are going to somehow win this match through some sort of shenanigans, and then have to face FTR. Like they will have to face FTR unless FTR really is gone from AEW, because it makes a lot of sense that that's who takes the belts from them. But I'm going to say Guns win this.
And it's probably going to be Lethal and Jarrett.
Just so they can be on TV more.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll change. They'll now be known as the television tag team, so they have to be on.
Yeah, they were worried that they wouldn't get on that Battle Belt show. They're like, it's okay, they have belts now, we can put them on.
Jamie Hayter, Ruby Soho, and Saraya for the women's world title. I have Hayter retaining, and I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, I agree. This is a tough one because it could be any of them.
Totally could be any.
There's a compelling case for it to be any of them. But I think it's going to be Hayter.
Now I'm staying with Jamie too, but it just dawned on me. Other than Jade, is Jamie the longest tenured champion?
I would have to say yes, because the Elite lost their belts. Mox,
yeah, and then they just swapped theirs back.
Yeah. The Guns just won. Yeah,
Guns just won.
Yeah.
So maybe it is time for Jamie, but I'm still sticking with Jamie.
Yeah, I think Jamie too.
Any one of those three can win that match.
Yeah, and it would make perfect sense, and no one would be upset really. But yeah, I mean, someone's gonna be upset because it's the internet, but
totally,
it would make sense.
Joe versus Wardlow, and I have Wardlow.
Yeah, I have Wardlow, especially because they had Hobbs win the ladder match.
Yeah, and
I feel like you're right that Samoa Joe is going to go to just be an more ROH exclusive guy for at least a little while. So it would make sense for it to be Wardlow.
Okay, so my question to you is, does Hobbs beat Wardlow the following Wednesday?
I kind of want him to, because I think Hobbs
screws Wardlow twice.
Yeah, that really screws Wardlow, and his last reign wasn't that good either. So right. Yeah, it really screws Wardlow. But I would like it to be Hobbs, and I would like him to then feud with Takeshita. But then what do you do with Wardlow? Yeah, I don't know.
Unless Joe wins, then Hobbs beats Joe. Then you have then you have Wardlow versus Hobbs.
Right.
Start.
Right.
So I guess that one could go either way too.
Yeah, but I think I'm sticking with Wardlow.
I'm still sticking with Wardlow too, because belts need to start changing hands. We have too many tenured people here.
and Joe has 2 belts. It'd be odd to bring Wardlow back just to have him lose again.
Right. Yeah, and Joe having 2. That's true. Get a belt somebody else.
Yeah.
And just a little off topic, not off topic, but I really hope they continue. Whoever the TNT title holder is kind of gets to pick how the belt's defended.
Right. I agree with that.
I really like that.
Yeah, me too.
It's just a little fun, random stipulation that just makes the belt fun. I don't know.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Mox and Hangman, Texas Death Match. This one is another 50-50, but I went with Hangman.
Yeah, I agree. I also went with Hangman, but it could go either way, and it would make sense for it to go either way. But I think Hangman, because Mox is kind of a made man at this point. He can lose, and it doesn't really matter to him. Like he could lose the next 20 matches and then come back and fight for the title, and you'd be like, yeah, that checks out. But
Yep.
I think Hangman needs to do something big, and I think he wins.
Yes. Danielson, MJF, 60-minute Iron Man match. I'm going with my fantasy booking here. Danielson wins via CM Punk interference, cost MJF the title.
All right. There you go.
Punk then becomes the biggest heel. MJF then becomes the babyface because everybody then feels bad for all the BS that he has done. Like,
yeah, I can see
that he becomes the babyface via his redemption story.
Yeah, it would be hard to bring Punk back as a face, sort of, just because there'd be a portion of the audience that's going to be mad at him.
Right.
So it makes sense to bring him back.
Him the monster
here. Yeah.
That's my fantasy booking, but I do think Danielson wins. Take fantasy booking out, that Punk doesn't have to be involved, but I think Danielson wins.
I think MJF wins.
Nice.
I would love Danielson to win. I think he should be AEW champion just because he's amazing. Right. But MJF's reign hasn't been, it's been fine, but it hasn't been great. He hasn't done much, which I know what's the point of his reign. Like he said that from the beginning. I'm not going to be wrestling every week. Like he explained that. But I think he deserves a bit more time with the title to do a little bit more with someone else. I could totally see Danielson winning because it'd be really cool, and he obviously deserves it. I think it might be MJF, cheats to get a few falls, and then puts himself ahead. Danielson claws his way back, and there's 5 seconds left, and he locks him in a hold, and MJF just barely holds on and taps out right at 0 and wins the belt, but looks like a loser doing it. But I think MJF.
Nice.
And again, in my fantasy booking, MJF wins under the most heelish possible means. Cuts a promo about how he's the greatest wrestler because he beat Bryan Danielson in an Iron Man match, and then says something obvious like, "And that makes me the best in the world." And then CM Punk comes out. So I was trying to make it through a week without talking about CM Punk, but I can't do it. He should come back.
He's totally coming back. First and foremost, he's totally coming back. That's A, how contracts work, and B, why you would choose to quit and go making zero money to millions of dollars.
I just think whatever happened, and we don't know what happened, but whatever happened, you don't have CM Punk under contract for however long he's under contract, and they go, yeah, we're not going to put him on TV. No, put him on TV. And I get that even if there is a problem with the Elite and Punk, and I get maybe there is, just don't book them against each other then. Have them being completely separate feuds and give them locker rooms at other opposite ends of the building. They could work it out. There's been wrestlers who hated each other before, and they've worked it out.
I was just gonna say, I understand that, we always talk about there's generation of kids or even young adults that have only ever known WWE.
Right.
Well, within WWE, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels literally wanted to fight each other every day of their lives because they hated each other. But they had some of the best matches, some of the best stories, some of the best feuds in WWF history.
Yeah, and it's overshadowed by the end of the match, but even the Montreal match, pretty good match, considering they Bret was leaving and they hated each other. Still a good match.
Right. And bringing this into 2023, I also think that Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson, and Phil Brooks, I don't know why I used his real name, CM Punk. So I was just wow, that was dumb.
But yeah, Kenny Omega gets to be Kenny Omega.
Yeah. That was just the weirdest thing I ever did. I don't know. I think I know they realize that get over yourselves. There's so much money on the table here. There is no ego that is that big.
Yeah. And Then obviously the elite are EVPs, and from what we've heard and what's been rumored, and from what I've heard from like wrestling journalists talking about backstage before All Out, CM Punk was not just a regular wrestler. Like he was higher up. He wasn't an EVP, but he had a role in the company that was higher than regular wrestler. He was involved maybe in booking meetings or in marketing meetings or something. He was somewhere up there in the company. And if they're all involved in that capacity, like business wise, they'd have to be really. I don't know what would take to be like, we're not going to do this, because they're like, they have especially the EVPs, they have like a financial stake in AEW's success.
Right.
So it's in their best interest to get over it. And yeah.
And that's why I said from the beginning, I mean, we know where I stand, that this was a wholeheartedly planned out movie script type deal. But again, if it wasn't, they're too smart. The average person is like, if me and you are hated each other and we're fighting, and someone's like, "Hey, look, once a week, you got to talk to each other for 2 hours. I'm going to give you millions of dollars."
Right.
I would say, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing on Thursday?"
Right. Like, yeah, we don't have to hang out. Right.
I can talk to you for 2 hours a week.
Right.
Again, they're also millionaires in real life, so when they have to be next to each other, someone can Uber and go across town to go get a steak. I don't know,
right. Yeah.
They're not forced to stay with, they're not tethered to each other all day.
Yeah, it's not even like they're on a sports team where they have to travel together. And they don't. We already know CM Punk has a bus. He could he could just hang out on his bus until the minute before he goes on TV, go out, do his thing, get back on his bus, and leave.
Right. And go home.
Yeah.
Right. And same with the Bucks. They fly in, they get in a car, they come to the arena. They could stay at the hotel.
Right. I get that there's stuff to be worked out. I totally understand that. Maybe people are upset and they're all humans, right? So their feelings are hurt, or they feel they're not treated fairly. But it's also been what, 6 months now.
It's definitely over.
Right.
One way or the other. It's either over, they made up, or over and they hate each other and they realize, well, we're going to work together again one day.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Regardless, it's over.
I agree.
And if it isn't, if it isn't over, one of those four is a giant baby. Because
yeah,
you can't get over something in 8 months.
Definitely. Yeah. My question back to the pay-per-view is,
yes.
Do you have any concerns about an hour-long Iron Man match being entertaining for an hour?
No, because I'm weird. Even when I was a kid, and everybody hated the Bret and Shawn Iron Man matches, I wish they were 2 hours long.
See, I didn't like that match. I liked some other Iron Man match. I didn't like the Bret Shawn Iron. I thought it was too long.
Oh, see, I wish that thing was 6 hours long.
They've done other Iron Man matches. I think the Rock and Triple H did one that I thought was good. That was a good Iron Man match. I think Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle did Iron Man. I thought that was a good match. I just didn't. I thought the fact that there was no falls for an hour. I get the point. I get why they did that. And I think maybe if that match happened today, I would appreciate it. But when I was a kid and I watched it,
right,
I thought it was too long.
Now I'm glad you just brought that up. This is my other. If Danielson doesn't win, I'm saying, since it's the first Iron Man match in AEW history, they are going to say, actually, I lied. There was an Iron Man match on Dynamite. Kenny Omega was in one. So that was
like a 30-minute Iron Man match, though, wasn't it?
Oh, that's true. It wasn't 60.
They had hour-long matches. Danielson and Hangman went to an hour, didn't they?
Yes.
But it wasn't an Iron Man match. It just lasted an hour.
Yeah. It's going to go an hour, but there's going to be no overtime. It's going to be a legit draw. So then they're both kind of mad, but
oh yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, MJF keeps the title, but it's a tie. Yeah.
Yeah, and then then MJF is like, "Nope, sorry, buddy, it's over. You had your chance." And
yeah, I could totally see that.
And Danielson just keeps getting madder and madder. And he's like, no, dude, you don't get another one.
Yeah, I could
Like,
totally see that.
you can't beat me. You proved you couldn't, blah, blah, blah. And like just plays up this mega uber heel. But then again, do you book an Iron Man match and not give
A winner.
fans in the
Yeah.
21st century a winner?
I feel like
Like,
that's why I think Punk's return is more likely, because it is an hour-long match that, in my eyes, MJF will win. And if you've had it, not that it's in California, so it's not going to be that late, but if you've had
true.
people watch, 4 hours of wrestling, and then they have an Iron Man match that doesn't have an ending that they want,
True.
you kind of want something big to happen at the end of it to like make them happy, because I could see people being really upset if like, oh, I had an hour-long Iron Man match and MJF cheated to win, or it was a draw or whatever,
Right.
and yeah, they're gonna be upset. So I can totally see them doing something at the end too, or maybe if Punk can't come back, maybe it'll be like Adam Cole or something. I could see them doing something
Oh, good call. Good call.
something at the end to make people cheer.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure.
It's gonna be good.
Do you think it's going to be like a multi-fall Iron, or is it going to be like Brett and Sean and this is just one fall?
No, they're gonna give us. I mean, it's gonna end up at some point like 2-2, 3-3. Like, we're gonna
Yeah.
get falls.
Yeah, I agree.
And see, this is. I wish more people like ECW always broke that mold. Like, I'll never forget like when Taz signed to WWF and he was in the three-way dance eliminator. He was the first one eliminated.
Right.
Like, that never happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, he was the first one eliminated. You're guaranteed a new champion.
Paul Heyman left WWE the first time over that.
Oh, really?
That same they had that December to Dismember ECW pay-per-view that was terrible.
Yeah.
They had that, and I think Big Show was ECW champion at the time, and they had an elimination chamber match, and Paul Heyman was booking, and he wanted Big Show to lose first, just so that you could guarantee a new champion. And Vince said no, he has to be the last guy. Like, I forget who won the belt. Maybe it was Lashley, but he said he wanted him to be the last guy eliminated so that the ultimate winner beat the champion. But Paul Heyman was like, no, if he loses at the beginning, then you're going to get a new world champion.
Every elimination means that much more. It's
right.
Like, it's
and they had an argument, and that led to Paul Heyman leaving WWE.
See, like, ECW had the courage to do things like that. Like,
yeah,
they would have a best 2 out of 3 falls, and somebody would score 2 in a row.
Yeah, like, I mean, that should happen every so often, just to make it just to make it seem like it could happen.
Yeah, because like in sports, like, there are upsets. Teams get swept. Like, it doesn't always go 7.
Yeah, and that's a problem with not just AEW, modern wrestling. Like, no one books a 7-match series now without knowing it's going to go 7. No one books a 2 out of 3 falls match without knowing it's going to go 3 falls. Yeah.
And again, like, I mean, you brought it up as soon as, again, we were totally excited when they announced the best of 7 tournament with Death Triangle. But as you brought up, the matches did good stipulations until the 5th one.
Right.
So it's like, of course someone's not sweeping somebody.
Yeah, I would love if they swept and then it was like, oh no, you wanted to see that no holds barred match in the ladder match, but that's not happening.
Yeah, sorry, athleticism prevailed. Like, you don't get the entertaining stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah. But
I get why they do it, because it's entertainment. Like, that's the
totally.
That's the advantage to scripting a athletic contest. Like, if they could script professional sports, they wouldn't be sweeps. Yeah. They wouldn't be sweeps either.
Yeah,
but
every series would go 7.
Right.
Every Stanley Cup would go to overtime.
Right.
Like, yeah, everybody would be a hero. There'd be no shutouts.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's your pick for match of the night?
That's a good one.
There's a lot of options.
I know. That's I'm pulling them back out. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say the women's still show. I'm gonna stick to that. I said that it had
I agree.
The potential. I think they're I think they're gonna. I mean, they always bring it, obviously. But I think this is their official statement. Like now that all these people are here and Soraya's cleared and the women's division is popping, and there's rumors of maybe one day seeing Mercedes at Forbidden Door or something. Uh, just there's too much momentum, and I think they're going to make their statement where,
And they all kind of
hey,
have something to prove. I mean, like
exactly,
Jamie Hayter was never planned to be, in my eyes at least. I don't think they ever planned for her to be champion. I think she was supposed
at
to just
least
be
not
like,
right now.
right, at least not right now. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And,
I agree.
Ruby Soho was, fired from WWE and then kind of had to work her way back up. Saraya was injured and, hasn't had a great match since she's returned. I think they all have something to prove. So
Totally.
they'll go out wanting to steal the show.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that like the Elite House of Black match won't be great, or Moxley Hangman won't be great, or the main event won't. But like, I agree with you. It could be the women's match.
What do you think opens?
Maybe the trios match.
Well, that's what I had wrote down first.
Yeah, just because that'll pop the crowd a lot, and that'll get everyone. It'll be crazy. It could be that, or it could be Christian and Jungle
I was just
Boy.
going to say that those are my. Yeah. Wonder if they'll do a pre-show.
Yeah, I don't know. They haven't said anything.
Yeah,
It's only eight matches too. I know the main event's an hour, so that explains that. But it's just short. It's shorter than most AEW cards. There's no Jade Cargill match.
Oh.
I wonder if we get one, or they don't have her.
I was just gonna say, didn't they tell us this? Last
she cut a
night?
promo saying that like there's no one worthy of facing her or something, but they didn't book her.
But I thought they said that all titles were on the line. Like, not saying that they can't add her.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they did.
I heard Excalibur say that.
I don't know.
Because let's see. There's the trios. There's the tags.
There's no All Atlantic title either because Orange is in the tag team match.
Oh, that's true. Good call. Okay, so every title isn't on the line then.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with. I think Ruby, Hayter, and Saraya are gonna steal the show.
I agree. And is Punk your surprise? Do you think there's gonna be? Do you think there's gonna be any surprises, or is Punk your surprise, or what do you think? Like any surprise, like returns or debuts?
There's definitely gonna be surprises. We haven't had solid surprises, and it's a pay-per-view.
Yeah, and AEW loves to do surprises.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? I'm gonna put my bank statement on it, and we can prepare to hear the record scratch and me fail again, just like I guaranteed Gargano. I'm gonna put my seal of approval on it. I'm saying right now we get either FTR or Punk at the pay-per-view.
All right. Yeah, I could see that.
I
could see both of those things happening. I could see the Guns getting involved with FTR. I could see MJF getting. I really hope that happens because that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I just thought that how we're always talking, or everyone's always talking about how the Elite against CM Punk and FTR, they could in theory do the CM Punk and FTR against the Guns and MJF, even though the firm attacked him, they could get back together.
True. I know a lot of people want CMFTR.
Yes.
As a trio.
Yes.
So, I mean, I would take that too.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I just had a thought as we were talking about right now. You just brought up a point about Jade saying nobody's on her level.
Yeah.
What if Mercedes shows up?
Yeah, I could see that too. The only reason I couldn't is because she's not going to lose. Mercedes wouldn't show up and lose. And
I'm not saying.
Oh, not to wrestle. Yeah, I agree.
Jade said nobody's on my level.
Right, I agree.
And then
that could happen.
Just show up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Adam Cole might be involved somehow.
Yeah, he has a lot of. He's done a lot of teasing.
Because he said he's wrestling. He said he's going to wrestle on the night that new show premieres, which they haven't announced yet. But they haven't said against who. So. And
it starts this month, right?
Right, sometime in March. They haven't said when. I don't think, but.
Oh, men's power slaps means its days are numbered.
Poor power slap.
Poor power slap, exactly.
I'm surprised it's not Shockingly more successful.
We should definitely start a power slap podcast. Slapcast.
But it's like it's just as dumb as the show, so it's only like 5 minutes long, and we just say one thing each, and then that's the end of the show.
Yeah. So you're like, so guy got hit in the face again, huh?
Yeah, that was a good shot. Okay, good night, everyone.
Yeah, see you next week. Unreal. Well, do you have anything else to add, sir?
No, I think that's it. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good show.
It's going to be fun.
What we might do, depending on how things work out and timing and everything, we might have a bonus episode to do a Revolution recap type show, but we'll see.
We'll see. More than likely, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And
our ROH is back.
Like
we're not going to have we're not going to do ROH in detail, but we are going to talk generally a little bit about ROH every week.
Yeah, like even if it's just recap, like, hey, this match happened, this person won, this person cut a promo, blah blah blah.
Right.
Like, because I before we recorded, I started watching the show, and first off, it's over 2 hours long. So I don't know if it's going to be 2 hours every week.
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be awesome if it is, but the first show is 2 hours. 2 hours and 5 minutes, I think. I have like 30 minutes left, I think.
Nice. And now we get a show every day.
We get a show every day, but I'm still learning they're doing different. It's a different format than AEW. It's almost like match promo, match promo, match promo.
Right.
This first episode, it flowed nice, but not great. Because they're using it as you'll see when you watch it, they're using it as basically an introduction.
Right.
So it's like, if you've been watching like Dark and stuff, it's like, oh, okay, I know who this is. Oh, they're going to explain to me who this is again, aren't they?
Right.
So like
and that makes sense. And that makes sense. It's
totally.
It's the first show. Yeah.
So it's, whenever you watch it, like, just be prepared to be introduced to everybody again and again.
Right. Yeah.
So, but it's gonna get some flow. It's a fun show so far, so I'm glad.
Nice.
So yeah, everybody enjoy Revolution. Enjoy Rampage tomorrow, and Revolution is gonna be fun. So enjoy it, have fun, be safe, and thank you everybody, as always, every week, for the listens, the likes, the subscribes. We had a heck of a week last week. Just thank you. It's unreal. Like, people have been reaching out. I got a private message for just thanking me and thanking you, Rick, for all we do. And it's just, it's nuts. I probably should have wrote the person's name down. You know who you are. I responded, but I apologize. I'll get back to you. It just dawned on me right now that I didn't write it down. So we'll mention you next week. But just thank you for the support. It's unreal. It's kind of crazy. It's fun. Because me and Rick were talking about this regardless. So
right.
It was just, it was happening anyway, so you might as well record it.
There you go.
So again, thank you everybody. It's humbling, it's fun, and that's about all. So follow us at Elite City Pod everywhere.
Yes.
We're everywhere. Anywhere podcasts are, social media, we're at Elite City Pod. Come say hello. We have a Discord if you want to be a part of it. Message either at Elite City Pod or myself, Blasco for Life, on Twitter. We'll make sure you get an invite. Come join the little crew and have some fun. So everybody, again, thank you. Enjoy Revolution. And until next week, later.